Today we're 100% speedrunning SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. Now our speedrun starts with us creating a new save, and after talking to Gary for a bit, what we can do right away is actually warp out of our house. Normally you would have to collect the golden spatula first, but this game for some reason allows you to warp to Patrick right away, so we're going to use that and just go straight over to Jellyfish Fields. Now we will be coming back to the house later, obviously, because this is 100% and we do have to get the spatula and sock in there, but it makes more sense to do later and just head here right away. Now with SpongeBob, we're mostly just heading straight at the beginning, seeing all of these robots, shiny objects, and all the tikis. You know, gotta love this game. In general, probably my favorite SpongeBob game of all time. Well, that along with the original, they're both very good. But what we're gonna do right there is make a huge jump all the way over there so we can get that sock right away, and then come over to this side where we're gonna jump on that tiki and then jump on top of those to get to this platforming that normally you're not supposed to be able to access. You can see by like the invisible walls that we're walking on, like right here, there's nothing, but we can still walk right there, do a couple of jumps, make it over to this cannon, and start this Gary cutscene. That's gonna give us this mission point where what we can do is go on this bungee and jump all the way down there, grab the spatula, and warp back to Gary. So yeah, in general, this game is incredibly broken and there's so much cool stuff we can do. Like right here, what we want to do is delay our jump just a little bit, because normally there's an invisible wall right there that stops you from making that, but in this game, it actually gives you a lot of time after you leave the ground to actually jump. So even if I'm in the air for a second, I still am able to do my jump, and we're going to be using that a lot because jump spacing is really important for a lot of tricks, so we can make it under that invisible wall and just go straight over there. You also see we also took the Patrick sock, and basically how the socks work is for every 10 you collect, you get a golden spatula from Patrick. So there are a total of 80 in the game. We're just gonna have to get them all. Oh, by the way, what you saw me do right there, there's so many tricks to explain for this game, but I jumped and entered the loading screen at the same time as getting the spatula. That way we didn't have to wait for the spatula animation, so just another little speed up. Now we'll take this hill, we'll jump all the way over there, make sure we get that box because that's really important, and it's time for another trick that again breaks a different part of the game. In this, normally you're supposed to destroy a bunch of robot producing machines, but what we can do instead is time our jumps incredibly specifically here and then do a slam right onto that ledge, and we just barely are able to make it over here and get Patrick along with that golden spatula. Then right away we want to go back to where we got the Gary mission, and this allows us to play as Patrick right from the beginning of this section, so we can do the leftover Patrick stuff we need to do. Also, by the way, whenever I'm moving with Patrick, what I want to do is always spam attacks because that gives us a bit of extra speed, and that's especially useful here where we have to freeze this entire sea, and then we just have to keep using our attacks so we keep going faster, and we have just enough time to be able to get both of these socks, which is really nice. After that, we will be coming back to the Jellyfish Fields later, but for right now, we're heading back to Bikini Bottom, and we're going to do some more platforming. We can jump on those trees to make it over to the top of Squidward's house, grab that extra health, and then make a couple of jumps to get on top of the pineapple for another golden spatula. Then after that, we're heading into Squidward's house. He wants us not to ruin his entire house, but of course we're going to do that anyways. And what we can do is both destroy all the stuff in his house and jump a couple of times. You'll see destroying the stuff gives us a sock, and jumping a bunch will give us a golden spatula because we're annoying Squidward so much. So pretty cool stuff there. Now time to teleport back to that spatula. That just brings us in the middle of town, so we can go straight over to downtown, which you need 5 golden spatulas to access. Now in here at the very beginning, Mrs. Puff talks to us and she tells us we need to collect all of these wheels for her, and there are a total of 11 in the level, so we'll be getting those as we're going through. Then along with that, I'll take this sponge ball because that allows us to go faster, so anytime there's one that's not too out of our way, of course we're going to take it. Now right here, what I want to do is a little bit of shiny object grinding as well as getting another golden spatula. So we want to destroy all these tikis for their shiny objects, and we want to hit those buttons so we get the golden spatula. I almost messed up that one, but we got it perfectly. We can slam on that. That gets rid of that cannon and gives us a golden spatula, and then we can die at the same time as breaking that tiki. That's going to spawn us right back here, and we basically want to do this because we need to do a bit of grinding. And this is a pretty fast way to get some shiny objects early on, so I'm just going to repeat doing this until we have around 4,000. Now right here, I have a good amount of shiny objects, and I still do want to get a tiny bit more money, so I'll be coming to this guy and going right this time first to get both of these right stacks of tikis before going on top of the statue. Pretty simple platforming all the way up to this golden spatula that got created when we destroyed the cannon. Then from there, I want to do a huge jump all the way over to that exploding tiki so we can get some extra money, and we're heading on this way. Now there's going to be this guy who's shooting all that glue. We want to hit him out of the way just because he's kind of annoying. Take that sock, go on top of this rock, and just barely be able to go on that platforming up to this spot. Now I want to wait until that rises until its max height so we can actually make it up here, grab that sock, and do some more well-spaced jumps to make it all the way over to this wheel. Then just a couple of more jumps, and we want to unlock Sandy, so I'm going to jump up here, and then we can respawn ourselves by going to the second spatula. That's going to give us Sandy, and she has a really cool trick where what you want to do is grab the ledge, press the lasso button while you're grabbing the ledge, leave the ledge, get back on it, and that allows us to infinitely fly. This is a really cool trick, and the reason we had to leave the ledge and then come back on it is that gives us the ability to stop moving upwards. Like if you don't do that, then you can't press the lasso button again to move back downwards, so that's just important. And we're going to do the same in this Larry area. First, I went ahead and got that box, and then I'm also going to get this sock all the way up here. From there, we'll just spawn back here. We want to do it again. Sometimes it takes a couple of tries to actually get on here, but there we go. Just get off the ledge, go on top of this thing. And basically what we're doing is we're deciding where we want to set our height, because right now I'm not moving up or down because I stood on a platform. So I can stay at this height for as long as I want, come up to this wheel until finally we're going to jump. That gives us insane height, and we can stop it by pressing the lasso button, and we're good to go. Now from here, this is another cool trick where we can skip paying this clam by going down here, seeing that our shadow is gone, and that's because there's like a developer thing where they put a button for you to get through that clam without having to actually pay for it, which is really awesome for us because I don't want to waste the time grinding extra money. We can go through that box, and this is the one we opened earlier, and there's a golden spatula on the other side. Now the nice thing about going in the box too is we do keep our hover ability, so I can just go straight down here, spawn on the other side, and we're gonna do another big hover all the way over here. Kind of want to time it a little bit correctly and also not get in the way of this guy with his tartar sauce. I called it glue earlier, my bad. But we're gonna take this wheel, we can then start descending, and there's going to be this sock over here before we go to the left. There's gonna be another wheel, and yeah, we just get through this entire section so much faster by having this ability, so it's great. And we can also get extra speed right there by getting on one of those surfing sections, so that's cool as well. Finally stop it by lassoing so we have a little bit less height. We can make it over to this bus stop and get that golden spatula. The reason there isn't an animation there is I'm not really sure, but as long as you get it fast enough after switching, there's just not going to be the animation, and that's awesome. So pretty cool stuff right there. And then just going in this building where there's going to be a mini game where we have to take care of a bunch of these Duplicatrons. So I go destroy that, I destroy the robot that's by it, and eventually it'll break the floor. And we know exactly where all these Duplicatrons are, so normally you would have to actually fight enemies and stuff, but because I know exactly where to go, we just don't have to, because as long as you destroy these as soon as you see them, they don't have time to spawn enemies. And the last two are going to be right here. This time it actually does give us a couple enemies. I'm also going to destroy that just for some extra money, jump my way over here, get this last guy, that way they can spawn nobody more, slam down there to destroy that stuff, get this guy throwing his cannons, and we can come over to this wheel as well as hit this button, because there are going to be these trampoline things where we just have to jump all the way back up to the top. This is a pretty easy platforming section where we just make it up here, we grab that sock, and we do a jump so we can grab that spatula in the air just like we did earlier. This is going to give us Bubble Buddy. Obviously we have to say hi to him for a second, but we'll skip past that, make a couple of jumps. There's going to be a sock up here, then we can come down, get this sponge ball so we can move a little bit faster and start climbing on top of this car, make it all the way up to that wheel. That's 8 out of 11. But next up, it's time to go over to the sea needle. Now this costs 2,100 shiny objects to get to. We have that money. And up here, we have a very interesting way of doing this. Now normally this is a challenge for SpongeBob you're supposed to do, but we can do the entire area with Sandy. So first, what we're going to begin with doing is just walking along the different outsides of this place. There's going to be people trying to attack us. They're not the best at their job. And in each of these doorways, there's going to be another collectible. Like this one was a wheel. Now over into this section, there are all of these floating platforms. I can just jump from one to the next. Once we make it over here, our next collectible is going to be another one of those wheels. And then we want to jump on this rail section, make a huge jump with our lasso ability all the way over here so we can actually make it and get that sock, which is going to be our last thing. Before now, we want to go onto this other piece of railing and make the jump onto that window, hit this button in the air, and that gives us the spatula. So pretty cool stuff that you would normally need SpongeBob for. But speaking of that, we can also do this section. So normally you're supposed to use his bungee jumping ability to actually make it over here, but instead we can just drop down there with Sandy, and as long as we don't die before all the tikis disappear, we'll get the credit for that. And there are also normally 3 sections you're supposed to do this in, but the game actually doesn't check if you did different sections, so we can just do the exact same section section 3 times instead of doing 3 different ones, and that's really funny. This is going to be our final one. We'll make sure they disappear, get taken by the hand, and we can go over here, switch over to SpongeBob. Mr. Krabs congratulates us for doing the mission. We get the golden spatula, and that's 12 of them done. But now what we want to do is switch back to Sandy, and then we're going to teleport to Jellyfish Fields. Now, the reason we're doing this is normally you can't play Jellyfish Fields with Sandy, but for some reason the game doesn't check your character and make sure you switch back to SpongeBob here. So we can just bring Sandy in this place she's normally never supposed to be, and that has some really cool stuff we can do. Because basically, we can use her lasso ability to infinite lasso. We can do that thing, also grab that sock, and we want to make our way over here, get some extra speed, and then go all the way over into this distance. These are places that we're normally never supposed to be, and we want to make sure that we stay pretty close to this wall. That way we don't die or anything, or at least we don't want to die until we make it over into this section where the hand takes us. That puts us back over here, and we're a little bit in the wall at this point, but we want to get more in the wall, so we got to do this again. Just get the hand to pick us up, and usually this takes either 2 or 3 times to get in the wall. That time it only took 2, and yeah, now we're completely out of bounds. So from here, I'm under the map, and what I want to do is come to this section. We can jump up into the air, almost messed that up. We're not going to talk about it, and grab that sock. Then I can do another jump, start moving over into this distance, and then in the air, we actually get out our snowboarding section, which is pretty cool. So from here, it's just some pretty normal snowboarding. I want to dodge this fire as much as I can and use the sides of the wall to actually move myself back down. Finally, we'll get hit by these tikis. We just go straight through there, take the speed all the way over to this blue rock where we can stop ourselves from moving, jump down there, get that sock, move up, and then use the wall again to move us back down so we can finally get that golden spatula. So pretty cool little golden spatula, but we're going to be done with Jellyfish Fields for now. We're going to come back here later, but I do want to make sure I do grab my next mission, so we will go through that loading zone, talk to Mr. Krabs for a second. It does switch us back to SpongeBob, and go over to downtown because there's still another spatula we have to get here, and for this one we want to get through that gate by slamming into it, becoming a sponge ball, and then we're kind of just walking through because there is going to be our last wheel over here. I can grab that with this other sponge ball, and before we teleport back to Mrs. Puff, I want to make some pretty precise platforming. There's a very small ledge you can walk on there, so I'm glad I got it, and all we have to do is talk to Mrs. Puff. As soon as that loading screen's done, she gives us the last golden spatula for downtown, so we're 100% done with it. And from here, it's time to go back to Bikini Bottom and actually go back to our house. Yeah, we're gonna get the stuff that we skipped earlier on in the game, and the reason we wanted to come back here later, because it does cost shiny objects to get through those doors, so it makes more sense when we have tons of shiny objects rather than just trying to find all the shiny objects in SpongeBob's house. We can grab the sock right there. We're gonna come out through here. I love SpongeBob's hairdo in that one picture, but we'll also take that golden spatula before teleporting back to Bikini Bottom. Then from here, I want to make sure I stay pretty close to Squidward's house. That way we don't accidentally talk to Bubble Buddy, because he'll teleport us closer to him, and yeah, it's just a small time loss. But we're gonna go into Patrick's rock. We're gonna take that sock, and we can talk to Patrick. He's gonna give us 1 free sock right here, and he's also going to give us 2 of these spatulas since we have 22 socks right now, and we can head straight over to our very first boss fight. This one is against Robo Sandy, and for this boss fight, right away she's gonna slam down on us, but we want to dodge her attack, and then we can slam into the ground. And then after that, what we actually want to do is we want to skip her using her move where she tries slamming down the first time. And how you can do that is by going up close to her and then jumping away before she can hit you. And that just makes the fight a little bit faster, so it's pretty cool. It's even faster with Patrick though, because normally she has 2 moves here, and one of them is her clothesline move, where it's just a long attack and we don't want to see it at all. So we can skip that ability, just go through there, destroy her head, and yeah, we're basically just doing this 3 times. Then finally, we have one more section with SpongeBob. We're just like Patrick, and just like before, I guess, we want to do this 2 times. Then Sandy's gonna slam down. We can do that, and then we can bubble bash into her head, and yeah, just repeat this. Actually got hit that time. So you don't want to get hit because it's slightly longer, and I'm really messing up now. But yeah, not the biggest deal. It's still much faster than just not doing the trick at all. Finally, this is going to be time number 3, so we get the spatula in a very fast boss fight. That unlocks a new section of the map for us, so there's much more stuff we can do. But the first place we want to go into is Sandy's Sandy's tree dome. Well, first we want to talk to Bubble Buddy because that unlocks a mission for us so we can warp there later. But now we're going to Sandy's tree dome. SpongeBob is not feeling the best, as you can see by him. But basically, there's a bunch of robots in her house and she wants us to take care of them. So we're just going to go one by one. I want to deal with the tartar sauce people first and also the Duplicatrons so they can't make more people. I'll go get him with one of my bubble bowls, just destroy those guys nice and easy. Sandy's proud of us and she gives us the golden spatula while she's trying to fix up her dome. And then we can head back to Bikini Bottom on the second spot, bringing us back over towards the houses, and that's because there's one more area we have to do, which is Goo Lagoon. So this place, like pretty much all the places, has a lot more cool tricks we get to do, but right at the beginning, we want to speed up this platforming a bit by going and walking on these wooden platforms and all the caution tape and all that. We'll just keep jumping and spinning as we go through there, go on top of this, destroy this Duplicatron because I don't like it, and Larry talks to us and basically says, hey, I want you to murder some guy using the sun's rays, so that's our big mission for this one. But while we're doing this, of course, there's a bunch more to do, like switching over to Patrick right here. And what we can do is some platforming up on top of this lifeguard tower, grab this watermelon, hit that button, and that starts a mission. Normally you would have to use Patrick for this, but we're actually going to use another cool trick by switching to SpongeBob because we have to make it over here with SpongeBob anyways. So first of all, we can hit this lifeguard tower, and then we want to do a jump where we do a jump spin, and that gives us enough height to make it on top of the lifeguard tower without doing the normal Patrick stuff. So really cool trick. I just love the little platforming stuff like that. And it's kind of funny because the original game also has a very similar trick. The original game, by the way, is also a really cool speedrun. I definitely recommend checking it out. I'll talk more about that at the end of the speedrun. Anyways, now it's time to also do another mission where, of course, Mrs. Puff has another situation where she needs our help. This time, she has a bunch of her students that are flying with balloons. How did this even happen? There's going to be this one over here. I just want to jump, be able to slam him up. And there's only 5 of these guys, but the last 2 are in really annoying spots. We'll worry about them later, though. For right now, we're going to grab this Patrick sock and just some normal platforming as we make it through all of this goo. And yeah, you just have to go on top of these wooden posts. There's going to be a couple of enemies and stuff like that, like this guy. I can just smack him out of the way. And there will also be these dragons, which are burning fire right in front of us. Thankfully, we didn't get hit by it. But I want to destroy this guy just so he isn't in my way. I destroyed that tiki, and then we can start walking on top of this. And you have to make sure you're fast. That way it doesn't explode. But we can go grab that sock, talk to Bubble Buddy so we get his fast travel point, and head backwards. Because there's still 2 more kids that we do have to save. So I'm going through here. This time the dragons are spitting some fire. But these guys are kind of annoying because if they're not in good spots, you're not going to be able to bubble bash. Because if you try to bubble bash them while they're not over one of these planks, then you're going to fall into the ocean, and that's obviously not good. Would just waste more time than it would save. So I'm kind of just waiting out this kid right now. Like, come on, dude. Can you please get on top of one of these spots? Thank you. I appreciate that. And we save all the guys. Now, all we have to do is talk to Mrs. Puff. She's pretty happy with us. I'm literally just saving your job constantly. And from there, what I want to do is go and spawn back at that Bubble Buddy point. That's going to put us at the start of this huge sandcastle, and we want to destroy our way through there, hit that button. That way this starts going up. But this is also going to cause all this goo to start filling up the entire stage. Thankfully, we have plenty of time to deal with it. Like, not really a problem for you if you're not playing casually. And what I can also do is now another one of these cool tricks. Or I guess this isn't another one. That's the first time you saw it. But if I use my bubble bowl and then we jump on top of the ball, then it gives us extra height, and we can use that to make it all the way over here and get that sock before dying. This is a really cool trick that we're going to use in some very fun ways throughout the run. That time I'm actually able to get it first try, and we can come back up here, jump on top of that guy, grab this sock, and destroy all of those tikis. Before now, we have a very specific bubble bowl shot. Now, what I want to do is aim towards that pink shell and make sure we hit the button. That time we didn't. This is fairly precise to do, and I just want to charge up my bubble bowl all the way, and oh, okay, third time is the try. This is why I always make sure I actually hit it. And there we go. We see that the button turned green, so we can actually head down here, grab this spatula first, and then hitting that button spawns this other spatula along with all of this land. So we're able to just jump straight over there and grab that one too. Then from there, I can just head to the right, slam into the goo, and die. Yeah, unfortunately for SpongeBob, there's a bunch of death warps in this game, but I just want to do this trick one more time if I can get it. This always happens to me 1 time out of the 3. I always just completely mess up. please just give me the one. There we go. That's all I need to do. Anyways, we make it up here one more time. We can destroy all of these exploding tikis because might as well get the money out of them and head over to the cave. Here, of course, there's going to be Gary. We can talk to him for a second, but we want to make it through this cave as fast as possible. Now, there's going to be a bunch of goo that rises and falls, so I want to make some good cycles. So right here, what I want to do first of all is grab this sock just by going on top of that plank, going down there, and then I want to jump on this thing. Sometimes it has really weird physics, so I try to keep jumping just to make sure that doesn't happen, and we can make that precise jump all the way over to get all of those exploding tikis just for some more money, along with the sock. I guess the sock was more important. Now we're going to make it all the way down here where we have a fairly precise jump where I want to do 2 spins all the way over to that sock, grab that too, and just get bounced back by the goo before we're waiting for the tide to go down so we can jump over to that spot, make it over to this bridge, and from here we can jump on top of this plank, hit that button, that goes, collapses that whole thing, and that gets us through the cave much faster than you're normally supposed to be able to. Yeah, this run is just so much fun. I really do enjoy this speedrun. I really recommend it too. Again, this run and the original game both have great speedruns. Recommend them both. Anyways, now we're heading back into this Bikini Bottom area, and first of all, what we want to do is get on top of this statue that's spitting water. Unfortunately, it hurt us for a second, but then we can head into Shady Shoals, and over here, there's going to be Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. We want to hit their TV. That way we get an extra sock, and then we'll talk to Mermaid Man to enter the Mermlayer. This is a pretty fun section where who doesn't want to go to the Mermlayer, but we're going to talk to them. Mermaid Man says evil. I hit him for a second. You know, you got to hit Mermaid Man for luck. Anyways, we're going to head through here. We can just jump to the side of that electricity, which is hilarious. And there's going to be this dude with a cowboy hat that keeps hitting out these robots trying to attack us. We're just kind of skipping him. I don't even worry about him too much. And now we have another fairly precise trick, not the hardest one in the world, where we want to jump on top of this stuff, and then we're going to do a spin, jump, spin, jump, spin, and that gives us the maximum amount of distance to just be able to make it over to that bungee and grab that sock. Yeah, fairly precise trick to actually get, but then we can come backwards, we can do a couple of jumps all the way over here, and now what I want to do is bubble bowl into this loading zone, then I can hit it, and you can keep moving during the loading zone, so we actually grab the spatula while it's loading. That's a really cool trick that you can do, and it just saves some time. Again, it saves the whole animation of SpongeBob having to cheer for actually getting his spatula. Now from here, these electricity things are interesting because they hurt you if you hit them, but they won't hurt you if you hit the very top. So I can land on the top of one of them, and then if I aim myself directly over to that spot, we can get hit by it, get that momentum, and then do a bubble bash so we get the sock. After that, we're going to become Patrick, and we want to grab this shell. We'll talk to Mermaid Man, and he tells us he wants us to hit some buttons. So I'm going to take this watermelon and go on the side of this thing and try not to let that happen. Okay, as I was saying, we want to go to the side of this thing because normally it's a long puzzle you have to wait for, but instead, if we're going on directly the side, we just skip all the red area so we don't get hurt. Then for this next one, I want to throw the watermelon right there onto that platform, and these things kind of try moving up and down, so they're a little weird. So I want to skip most of them and just go straight over to the next one, die again. Dying's just the fastest way to get back to this watermelon, which is really funny. And for this final one, there's this cannon that will always hit these balls in random places, so I was hoping they wouldn't come to the left. I was just barely able to dodge out of the way, so that's nice. And we can get this spatula, but also talk to Mermaid Man at the same time, so we can move during this celebratory cutscene, pick up the watermelon, and yeah, that just speeds us up a little bit again. There's so many cool little tricks like that. It's so fun. Now with this next part, we have this puzzle where we have to throw this watermelon at a bunch of stuff, but this puzzle, it looks complicated. It's not at all. All you have to do is go from one button to the next. So we start at the left, keep going to the right, and we have to hit all 8 buttons with a watermelon. Finally, once that's done, all of them are in the right position. We can get through that cutscene. We can talk to Barnacle Boy. He's proud of us, and we get the spatula. Then we want to hit this button because there are 4 of those we're going to have to hit throughout the game, and we can make a huge jump all the way over here using the momentum of that slide, and that's pretty cool. Now time to head into this section. So here, Gary's going to be talking to us. I don't really have time to worry about you, Gary. I mean, I love Gary, don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to go fast. And we're going to destroy that robot. We can go over here, and I want to sneak while I'm moving on those things, because otherwise the scaredy tikis will actually leave. And there's a button you can use to sneak to make sure you get that before going to full speed so we can actually make that jump. And then we also did another one of those bubble bowl throws to actually make it up there. Then there's another trick where we wanted to do a well-spaced jump all the way over here. That way we can skip paying for this entire puzzle. And that puzzle was really expensive. It was like 2,000 shiny objects. and all you get out of it is a sock, so it's kind of insane. We should be able to skip it, but I just want to make sure I don't die to any of that electricity. Grab that sock, that's number 15, and make our way over back here. Now there's just this spatula we have to get, and of course we're going to do the same thing where I want a bubble bowl into the loading zone, head backwards, and we can grab it while we're loading. So now it is time for the ballroom, which this is a fairly infamous place of the game if you don't know a trick that we can do. So first of all, I'm coming over to this TV, and I'm going to bowl right there, and then we're going to come onto this thing that's going to send a ball down. But what you can do is aim yourself very specifically right over here, and as long as SpongeBob's right there, I'm then going to pause buffer till I see the balls about at that point of the rock, and if we do it right, the ball will get launched straight over to the place we need it. I messed it up that time, but sometimes this just takes a couple of tries. I had one run where I got it first try, and then the rest of the run kind of failed, but that was very nice. We're not getting that same luck right now. Okay, there we go. That took us a while. Not my favorite ballroom I've ever had. And what we have to do then is head over to this button, hit it with one of our bubble bowls, head over to this sock. We can grab that as well before we're just going to die. And that's going to spawn us right by the spatula so we can pick it up. You know, sometimes this game likes you and sometimes it very much does not. But back over here, we see the computer. We want to grab that, hit the button, and somehow that didn't get hit right there. But we're going to talk to the computer. It's like, oh, good job. I'm going to give you this reward. We're going to hit that button, and then we want to talk to the computer at the same time as grabbing the spatula. That way we can grab that other one while we're in the animation, just speeding it up again. And from there, all we got to do is head over into this section, go through the loading zone, and it's time for the boss of this stage, Prawn. So this dude, he has this like air machine that's just spewing air at us, and we just have to jump over it a couple of times. Then it's going to spawn some areas which we can bubble bowl in. We just hit him, and that's one of his health down. He'll then spawn some robots, which kind of increase the difficulty, but yeah, pretty simple boss fight. And here is going to be our third hit. All we got to do is bubble bowl one more time, get that super combo, and get the spatula nice and easy. So after all of that in Mermlayer, it's time to actually head back to Goo Lagoon using the taxi. From here, we're going to jump away and we're going to go inside of this box and just go straight through the loading zone. From here, there's going to be Mr. Krabs just by the Goo Lagoon pier, and normally he gives a mission for Patrick to clear out some robots on the bumper cars. But we're actually going to do that with SpongeBob, and how we can is by making that huge jump to open that box from afar. So we have both the boxes open, and that means we can just skip the entire level, go straight over there with SpongeBob. Normally you're supposed to use Patrick for this, but we don't need to, and we'll just destroy all of these robots. They're nice and easy. I'll do a slam right here. That gets rid of both of them, but we'll be going to Mr. Krabs later. And that's because there is some more stuff we still got to get. We're going to come on top of this stuff. We're going to grab that sock, do a big jump all the way over into this direction. There's going to be this robot trying to hit us, but I can aim my bubble bowl all the way from here to hit that button, and that's going to give us Whack-A-Tiki, where we have to destroy all of these guys, and you pretty much just go in a circle destroying them. It's pretty easy stuff, and that's going to spawn another sock. So we'll grab that, and then from there we just want to die really quick. That brings us back to this same area. This time we want to go on top of this cart, jump on this thing, and then do a big jump all the way over to here, which we can go on this slide. And I want to do a fairly precise jump, just barely be able to make it to this spot, which normally you would have to use Patrick and use the ice ability, but we're not freezing the lake. I don't have time for that. And then of course we'll die. Now there's our next thing, which we want to head on the slide in this direction. There's going to be these tiki guys, but I can jump over here, destroy that Duplicatron, go onto this ice rink, and that gives us another sock before we die again. We're dying a lot. Sorry, SpongeBob. And for our last thing in this little area, we want to head on top of this ticket booth. And normally this is a spot where you would have to pay shiny objects for again, but I don't want to do that. So instead, we're just going to cheat the system by doing some platforming all the way up here. We can grab that hook and get that next spatula before teleporting over to the bumper cars section. This is going to put us back to Patrick so we can actually complete the mission. We just have to go through the same box. And Mr. Krabs thinks that Patrick did everything, so he gives us the reward, and that's another spatula. So only one more spatula to get, which is going to be Larry's mission that he gave us at the very beginning of this level. So for here, I can grab this watermelon, use it to launch ourselves all the way to the next section. And at this spot, there's just one more lifeguard tower we have to deal with. You can see the sun's rays are still going off this thing. So there's that guy over by that tower of boxes that we just kind of murder. unlucky for him. But we did what Larry wanted us to do, and we could jump all the way back over to him. When we talked to him, he's like, oh, good job. You're king of the beach. I appreciate that, Larry. But I will take that. That's 35 spatulas. So next up, we're going back to Bikini Bottom, back to this 5th spatula. And from here, right away, we want to get this sponge ball first so we can go a bit faster, and we want to get on top of Shady shoals. Normally, you're supposed to do a platforming section to do this, but instead, if we don't get a launch like that, we can go ahead, use this ball to give us this height, and then we want to do a fairly specific jump onto the top of this window. So it's just a jump, spin, and we can get on top of that window and get the spatula up here. And that conveniently puts us in a perfect place to just drop right down and get to Sand Mountain. So Sand Mountain is a very fun spot where there's a bunch of the snowboarding sections, and I really enjoy them. But first of all, we're destroying that snowman. Sorry, snowman. And grabbing that sock. Then we can head to our first section. It's going to cost us $1,500. And basically in these spots, there's always somebody who wants us to race their time. This time it's Mrs. Puff. She's like, hey, you can't beat this entire course in 70 seconds, but of course we can. I don't know why she thought we couldn't. But there is a couple of collectibles we have to get while we're doing this. Like right there's going to be that sock. We want to take this left path so we can hit that button. That's going to get that huge snowball to go down, and that just destroys all those tikis. Then we'll keep going forward. There's going to be this robot. We get through him. We did a huge jump all the way over here. That way we skip some more section, get that sock. And yeah, Mrs. Puff, I don't know why she was so confident. Obviously, I'm going to be able to beat her. I'm a speedrunner. But pretty simple section from here for this mountain. We're just going through all these robots. We want to take the right path because there's going to be another sock there. And we see the finish line. We beat it with plenty of time to spare. We can do a huge jump all the way over here. And there's going to be a Duplicatron with a button behind it. So I'm going to make sure I hit both of them. And I also centered my camera to make sure I could see, just to be absolutely sure we actually hit the button. And we'll hit the other button too. That opens up the gate and we get this spatula. That's the spatula you get just for completing the course. But then when we come back up to the top, Mrs. Puff is proud of us, and she also gives us a spatula for beating her time. So pretty good stuff right there. I might as well also take that money, and we'll go back outside where there's 2 more courses we have, and each one gets a little bit more interesting, at least in my opinion. Another 1,500 shiny objects. And this time we have Bubble Buddy who wants us to race him, but we actually can't race this guy right away, and that's because we have to switch to Sandy. That way we can destroy all these snowmen. Now we have a really cool trick we're going to use anyways to deal with that time, so don't you worry, we're not going to be wasting much time. But yeah, we want to use Sandy at first. And what we're doing with her is we're just going through, we're hitting that snowman, we're stopping ourselves with our lasso, then making a huge jump all the way over here so we can get another snowman. Now, you can actually go on the opposite direction on these hills as long as you keep lassoing. Otherwise, it will eventually make you go back the right direction. So I just want to make sure I do that. And I'm also a little bit not full on health, so I want to make sure I didn't die right there. And yeah, we'll grab that extra health really quickly. A lot of little places that can kill you if you're not careful, so just want to make sure that doesn't happen. Now from right here, I will destroy that stuff. I might as well get the extra money. And normally I would jump a little bit sooner, but I'm actually going to take that extra health first just because we're a little low on health. We can make the jump all the way over here. There's going to be this snowman. Then we can come this opposite direction where there's another snowman. Now normally you're supposed to do this in like multiple different tries and take the different paths. You know, that would take way too long. So that's why we want Sandy here instead of SpongeBob, so we don't have to do that. And pretty standard section from here where you just have to make some basic platforming. Until we get to this spot, there's going to be that snowman right there. There's also going to be the sponsored by the Krusty Krab message. I'm very surprised that Mr. Krabs would pay for a sponsorship. He seems a little bit too cheap for that, but I will take that snowman. That's 7 out of 8. And the 8th one is going to be right over here. Then there's also a sock we have to get. So we have to do a fairly specific trick where I jump here twice, be able to just get enough height with the damage boost, and make it up there where we can get the sock. That's also a pretty fun trick. That brings us over to the finish line. There's going to be one more sock in this spot. And I'm also going to take some extra health just in case. Before we come over to the Duplicatrons, and just like last time, we want to hit the Duplicatrons at the same time as we're hitting the buttons. So I'll get that one as well. That destroys all that stuff. And there is going to be this spatula right at the end. But now we still have to do the actual race. But we got a cool way of doing that, like I said. So first of all, we're switching back to SpongeBob. And now normally how this game works is if you go and you start a race, but then you go into the box, then it will stop the race because it doesn't want you to cheat. But we could use a fun strategy where if we switch back to Sandy and then switch back to SpongeBob one more time, the race doesn't automatically restart. But now if we talk to Bubble Buddy again, for some reason, the box doesn't disable the race anymore. So what I can do then there is I jumped and then slammed as soon as we entered the loading zone for the box. That causes us to go wherever that was. It thinks we finished the race. We can talk to Bubble Buddy. He gives us the golden spatula. I have no idea why this works, but it does. So many cool tricks in this game. I love it so much. Then we have one more mountain we have to get for this section, but first of all, I'll go grab that sock, and we're heading up here. There's a couple of these robots. Move them out of the way and go into here. Another 1,500 shiny objects. And for this one, we have Larry the Lobster who wants to race us, but he has a 2-minute time, not the best in the world. And what I'm going to be doing is using SpongeBob. So we're just heading through here first. This upper path is going to give us this sock, so of course we got to get it. And pretty simple section, just like normal. I mean, it's not the hardest platforming. I mean, I guess I say that, but it is really easy to mess up. And then if you do mess up, you'd get respawned earlier. We don't want that to happen. But what we're going to do right here is hit that button. That just killed some people. Like, there were people just standing there. I guess it kind of is their fault. Why are you standing on a snowboarding hill? But, you know, unlucky for them. But the reason that we had to hit that was that way we can reveal this cave section, which you can see over there. We can jump there, skip some of the winding path by just jumping straight down there. There's going to be that sock, which we can take. And yeah, pretty fun that you can just skip that entire thing. Then just some more regular snowboarding, just like normal. I guess it's not really snowboarding. It's more like tongue boarding. Okay, that sounds weird. Anyways, with this part, it gives us multiple different paths we can take. First of all, we're going to take this lower path. That's going to bring us straight over to this path, which is the upper one, but we can just jump straight to the middle one. And yeah, these are very small optimizations, but I like talking about them. Anyways, it is time to finish out this guy. We're just making our way all the way to this finish line. And this time, instead of actually destroying all the Duplicatrons and hitting those buttons, we have a fun little skip. What we can do is jump on top of this thing, then do a fairly precise jump over this gate and just grab the spatula right away. So that is pretty cool stuff. We can now go through this box. And now it's time to switch to Sandy because there's one more sock we have to get. So this time, we're going to be heading up using that trampoline. And then there's going to be a lasso here, so we can take that guy, start going with Sandy, and we just have some pretty far lassos we have to do. It's kind of insane how good our ability is to where it can go this far, but we just have to jump one more time. There's going to be this robot over here by this sock. We'll move him out of the way, grab the sock, and now we're teleporting back to Bikini Bottom. Pretty simple Bikini Bottom section this time. All we're doing is heading to Rock Bottom, but there's a few different things we have to do here. Now, first of all, Mrs. Puff talks to us again. Of course, she's missing stuff. This time it's going to be artwork. Mrs. Puff, you really need to work on keeping your jobs. Like, you can't always rely on me. I guess SpongeBob does give her a bunch of trouble though, so maybe it is fair. Anyways, we're heading through Rock Bottom. This is a really cool spot of the game, but we're going through here, just some normal platforming. We'll talk to Bubble Buddy for a second, skip his dialogue, just like usual. We do that for everybody though. Can't really blame us. And we'll be making some platforming up there. Then up to this section, there's going to be this sponge ball. We want to take it, jump down here, grab this sock, jump from that point, get a double jump out of that, and then grab this sock as well before teleporting to the third spatula. That's going to put us back in this section where we can actually take this artwork, and we're going to get the sponge ball again. But this time, we're going to be taking this path, do a big jump to this section, and then we want to do another big jump so we can make it all the way up this cliff in a way you're normally not supposed to be able to, and switch back over to Sandy. There's going to be a spatula right here, nice and easy, and we'll head in this building where there's going to be a bunch of robots just completely destroying the place. So we got to deal with that. First of all, we'll destroy that button, skip through that cutscene, and every single time you hit one of these buttons, it starts another cutscene. I mean, it's a very small thing, but it's one of those things you notice every time you play, because when you speedrun, you do so many of these runs, and I just notice it. I'm like, do they really need a cutscene for every one of them? I guess. We're going to go grab this sock, and it's time for another one of these Sandy tricks where I want to jump on this, use my lasso ability, get off, get on. That way we can control our height, make our way over to the right where we're going to not get hit by that robot, but we are going to be able to make it all the way over there, stop ourselves, grab the sock, you already know. And then there's also another piece of artwork that's at this other spot, which, by the way, speaking of artwork, there's so much cool artwork in this section. Definitely recommend just looking at the artwork. It's very cool stuff. But, oh, by the way, there is a laser right there, but for some reason, the laser's collision doesn't go all the way to the wall, so we can just walk past it, which is really funny if you're right by the wall. And we'll grab that sock, we'll grab that spatula, we're good to go. So we can teleport back over to the start, just exit the building right away. And now we're back over at this section where it did transform us back into SpongeBob, so we will want to be Sandy again. And that's because, of course, her abilities are just OP. With this one, I want to do the lasso, I want to get on top of this thing. Normal stuff where we leave the platform, get back on it, come all the way up here. There's going to be a sock at that spot, and we can stop our momentum so we can go over towards that golden spatula. And that's going to be a nice and easy one. Then, because we can just fly freely, we can just go straight. Where I want to go all the way over to this gate, we can go inside of it. And since this is the end of this spot normally, there's a golden spatula just right there. That was not exactly what I wanted to happen. I was trying to bubble bowl into the gate and do that trick where we get the spatula at the same time as the loading screen, but that was just weird. We got knocked into the spatula. Whatever, not the biggest deal. Anyways, from here, all we got to do right now is one more thing. Of course, we will be coming back to rock bottom later, but for now, I'm going to hit that button, start moving forward, and it's another one of these sliding sections, but this time it is very short. I do have to make sure I don't die, though. But we're going over here, and what I can do to speed this up is just make a jump all the way from that spot. There's going to be our golden spatula at this point, and that's 47 down. Then it's time to teleport back over to Bikini Bottom, and it's time for our second robot boss fight, which is going to be Robo Patrick. This is a pretty fun area. It's not fun for Squidward, though, as you can see by him getting turned to ice. But all we have to do for this section, which is really funny, is just stand down here. Because Patrick is only attacking the sections that are like up higher. I mean, after you hit him, he uses a couple of attacks, like he uses that thing, he uses the spit attack, but then we can just stand in this corner and he can never actually hit you here. Like sometimes he will get close and it looks like he could, but he's never actually going to go there. As soon as he gets back down, we can hit him with a bubble bowl. He's going to repeat that and we have to do it 3 times. Now, after our third hit, we're going to switch over to Sandy. And this time it's pretty much the exact same thing as the start, just sitting at this corner. But then once we hit him the first time, Robo Patrick is actually going to raise up all of this goo, and that's going to mean we can't actually sit on those platforms anymore. So instead, we're going to do this, where all I'm going to do is just lasso and jump over and over again so it can't get hit by attacks. He's still doing his spinning attack and all of that stuff. It doesn't really matter to us, and that's actually a really awkward spot for him to be. But what I'm going to do is jump there and just barely be able to make it back. All right, that was a little scary. But third time, this is a little bit better because we actually have the box, so we can kick him, and we're back to SpongeBob, which this time he gives us this ice attack, gives us the spit attack, and we don't have anywhere just to sit besides right here. If you're standing at the very edge of this platform, it works out perfectly. I mean, sometimes if you're not too careful, then something can hit you, but it's a really convenient spot to sit. Then we just jump over there, hit him, and get bounced back, and we'll just repeat this 3 times. You gotta love how much you can just break this game, but doing all that now gives us the cruise bubble. So that's a new ability that we're gonna be able to use, but we're not gonna use it right away because first we're going into the Krusty Krab. This place has gotten taken over by robots, and I accidentally just left. I thought there was a cutscene we had to skip at first, so I just went right back in right away, and then there wasn't, so that was kind of unlucky. But anyways, we have to deal with all the robots and also destroy all the stuff in this area. So what I'm going to do, okay, I took that health for a little bit of safety and then I lost it right away. We don't have to talk about it. But first things first, what we want to deal with is the Duplicatron, just because it's annoying. Then there are going to be all of these robots that are just on the ground. Now, I only have 1 health right now, so that's a little bit scary. But I'm just going to destroy all of the robots I see, along with destroying all of the different stuff in the Krusty Krab. There's going to be this guy. He's kind of annoying. We can take some extra health. That is nice. And yeah, just go through destroying these things. It's kind of funny there are customers in here while there's a robot invasion. But we can head up here, hit this robot a couple of times. There's a couple of things we have to destroy as well. I also realized I forgot to destroy these exploding tikis, so got to do that too. But just a couple more of these boxes to deal with before we come up here, hit that last exploding tiki, grab this sock, and we actually won't be grabbing the golden spatula you normally get from here right away. We'll be coming back there later when we're getting all the Mr. Krab spatulas. Because Mr. Krabs also does have a bunch of spatulas you have to pay shiny objects for, which is going to be something we focus on when we're in Jellyfish Fields for the last time. So first of all, what we're doing is we're dealing with all of these towers. We just destroy them with some bubble bowls. Then this last one being a little bit tricky. For some reason, my bubble bowls weren't working, but we finally get it. We get that spatula as well, and we can teleport over to Mrs. Puff. So from here, what I want to do is some platforming. So I want to go on top of these shy tikis. We can jump on this tree, and that was not the best jump of my life. But if we do this again, we can jump on top of the tree. We can get on top of this thing and just do some unintended platforming. Make it on top all the way over here. I love how there's so much stuff you can do like this in this game. We're going to be headed all the way to this spot where there is going to be this this sock, I can just do a couple of jumps over there, a couple back here. And here is going to be our grinding section, where first I want to destroy that exploding tiki. I want to get our spawn point right there by going up on top of that wall, and then we can get rid of these robots. They're just kind of in my way. But what we want to do is then just die. We'll slam into the goo. The robots are laughing at us. That's kind of sad, but we can repeat this process over and over again. So those things respawn. I can destroy that stuff, go back into the goo, and yeah, I gotta do this until I have around 50,000 golden objects, so I'll let you know when that happens. This should be our final time needing to die, and we'll take some extra shiny objects for the road, just using a bubble ball right there before opening up that gate finally, after just standing there for the longest time. Coming over to this guy, and we want to get rid of this dude with the tartar sauce. He's just annoying. And then on this part, you need the cruise bubble to actually do it, and all you have to do is aim your cruise bubbles at these different tikis. We just got to go one by one until they are all gone. We can grab this sock, which I almost went the wrong direction for, and we just have to make it on top of here. There's a really small ledge that you can actually jump on, so usually it takes me a couple of tries. We finally get the ledge. Then from there, there's going to be a sock all the way over into the distance, so I'll just do a couple of jumps, then do a huge jump with a couple of spins right to this dude. Then, of course, some more platforming on places that we're not supposed to be, so we can just climb up this entire wall, make it all the way over towards the top, where then I want to jump up, do a couple of wall jumps, make it all the way over here. There's going to be a guy with tartar sauce trying to deal with us, but we can just kind of ignore him, take the golden spatula by him, and now it's time to head over to King Jellyfish, because by the way, the main mission for this one is Squidward got stung by a bunch of jellyfish, and to heal himself, he needs some jelly from the King Jellyfish, so we can do that jump to make it up here faster. And then the King Jellyfish goes over there. I mess up. We don't have to talk about it. But what we can do is wait a second longer to jump, and we just hit him. We just have to do this 3 times. Another very simple boss fight. Oh, he does spawn some other jellyfish as well, and they're kind of annoying. Not really the biggest deal, though. So that's going to be hit number 3. King Jellyfish is upset, but I don't care because we're going to take his jelly. But before we make it back to Squidward, it's time for a very short one of these snowboarding sections, where we just got to make it over here, do a jump, get that sock. That just speeds up a bunch of stuff. Then from there, we have to do it, not really the most precise jump in the world. It's actually pretty easy to make it to that golden spatula. And from here, we can just teleport over to Squidward, which he's pretty happy that he can finally heal his wounds. You're welcome, Squidward. But there is one more sock we have to get. So this time, I'm going to teleport right back to Gary. We're going to head over to the left up on this platforming that we did at the very beginning of the run. But this time, instead of that one specific jump to make it over towards the top of this area, we're going to head straight over here. There's going to be this bowling section where you have to bowl, hit a couple of pins, and that's why we had to come back here later till we could actually get the sponge bowl stuff. But there we go. That's going to be that sock. And now it's time to go back to rock bottom and finish that up. Rock bottom, we see Gary right away, always on his long walks. You got to love Gary. But we're going to take that artwork first. Then we're going to be coming over here because we have to switch to Sandy. Now, right away, very first thing we want to do is skip all of the normal platforming you would have to do by going on those rocks. We can just go and lasso over it, and we can get on top of this machine, then do some lassos, just barely be able to make it up there, do a couple of these lasso jumps to get a ton of height before turning our camera around and seeing there's a nice and easy golden spatula right over here. Then from there, I can do another jump, make my way to this thing. There's going to be this robot, and I just want to go hit him. And then we'll talk to Plankton. He's going to give us a golden spatula if we can destroy this huge machine in the middle, so that's going to be our goal. And we're just going to use Sandy to do that. We can get some height right there, and that should be enough height. Yeah, it's just enough height to be able to make it up here, and we can just hit that button. That's 1 out of 3. And yeah, we just continue this a couple of times. There is some more extra stuff to collect while we do it though, like this sock and also hitting that button. I actually don't know if you need to hit that button or not, but I always do. But over here, there's some more people with their tartar sauce. There's another button. That is our second one. And there's also going to be our last painting we need to get, so we can go back to Mrs. Puff a little bit later. And last one is going to be over at this section. Again, we hit the button. I like waiting for a second and then falling off the edge, because as we're dying, we also get this cutscene, which we can skip, and it puts us right back towards Plankton. We will have to deal with this robot one more time, so we can talk to him. He's like, hey, good job, Sandy. Gives us our spatula. And then we'll come over to the bus stop because we have to be SpongeBob one more time, which this time it's going to be another one of these bungees, but it's nice and easy. You just have to pay some money for it. We'll wait for that to come down before making our jump, doing a bungee, grabbing that sock, and going back back to the beginning of the stage to talk to Mrs. Puff. Like usual, she's surprised that we're actually able to do her job for her way better than she ever could. And then from there, it's time to head to Sand Mountain to do the 2 remaining spatulas. We wanted to wait to do these ones because we wanted a little bit more money. So first off, we're gonna go through the door, get over here, and we wanna get on top of this main ski lodge. And what you can do for that is go on top of this button, make a fairly precise jump, honestly not too bad, and just use some platforming to get to that spatula instead of using Sandy. Then straight from there, we can come over into this direction. There's gonna be Plankton doing whatever Plankton does, but we gotta pay another 2,500. That way we can get this hook to come down. I wait a second for it to actually activate, and I grab that golden spatula. But for now, it's time to go back to Bikini Bottom over towards this mission. And all we have left are the 3 remaining levels for the game, and a few more like socks and stuff all around the world. But this one, we have to get on top of the Chum bucket. What you have to do for this is just do a fairly precise jump. It's actually kind of hard to hit sometimes, and it's been a while since I've practiced it. Okay, that took way too much time. So fun fact for this video, I originally did a run for this, and I already got one done like a week ago before recording this one. But then the bitrate for that video was super bad, so I realized I had to re-record. So yeah, it's been a week since I've played and practiced some of these tricks, especially the late game ones. So yeah, all of the rest of this game is very new stuff to me, or not new stuff to me, but stuff I haven't practiced in a while, so hopefully we'll be able to get it fast. In that run, we got the sub 2 hour, and that's the goal for this one too. Anyways, it's time to head through the dream level. You saw right away, I was able to do some platforming to skip like a ball puzzle you would normally have to do. And then from here, we want to take this slide, jump here, and we want to land on one of these trampolines, which that was actually the luckiest thing. And we have just enough health to actually be able to hit that trampoline too. But that skips another section where you would have to pay for it normally. And that was insane. I'm going to take this extra health just as a little safety feature. And the idea behind this is it's a bunch of different people's dreams. So this one is going to be Squidward's dreams. So it has a bunch of music. It has some beautiful pictures of him in the background. And we'll be speeding through it like normally. For this one, what I want to do is a jump over there, completely miss it. But second time we can get it, nice and easy, make our way onto that thing. That skips a bunch of platforming you would normally have to do. And we can come straight over to this section where I want to bash my way up to that thing. Then I want to time this jump fairly specifically so I can slam right into this trampoline. I can get my jumps, and yeah, that's kind of a fun trick to do. Well, at least the times that you get it, it's fun to do. It's very easy to mess up. But from here, these notes are going to move as you walk on them. But yeah, pretty simple stuff. Just going through there. And then we do a trampoline over here. I think I can make this cycle. And yeah, we're just barely able to. And we're at the final part of this level now where there are all of these blue notes, just jumping on them. And final little bit, we can go through here, jump on that guy, make our way over there, and get this golden spatula. So now it's time to teleport back to the start of the level and just leave it right away because we have plenty of more dreams to do. This next one, we want to head over towards the Krusty crab, and I'm kind of just jumping on these different planks, making sure I don't die to all the spikes. And this Krusty crab one is an interesting one, and that's because it's a huge fight that we have to do. So we'll skip through those cutscenes first, and we have to kill a bunch of these enemies. And basically every time you kill a specific type of enemy, you get one of the burger toppings that are connecting to their Duplicatron to come out. So I have to kill all the different types of enemies and basically just slowly unleash their burgers. Like you saw the patty just move for that one. And yeah, it just depends on which guys you hit. Pretty simple stuff. And it looks like we got all the little guys. So I can go to this place first. And we'll do a jump. So sometimes, for some reason, this bun has really weird momentum that just sends you straight over forward, and I don't really know why, but we'll take it. We can destroy that one, and now none of those little guys are going to spawn anymore. Now the next one I want to deal with is these guys who are spinning. I also might as well kill one of those bubble guys while I'm at it. And yeah, you just want to deal with the Duplicatrons as soon as possible so they can't spawn any more of those enemies, but we just have to deal with... You're joking with me. We are back to this part. We destroyed the other guys, and that was so much fun. Anyways, we just have to deal with one more of these bubble guys. I'll get rid of him. Or I guess it's not bubbles. It's more like oil. And yeah, since we destroyed those Duplicatrons, like for the guys that spin around with fire, we might as well start killing them now if they are in our way. We'll have to deal with them anyways, but this is going to be our last one of those. We grab that. We're also going to want to make sure we get this sock. One time in a run, I forgot about that sock, and then I was just like, where am I supposed to go? But we just have to clear out the rest of these dudes. And with this last guy, that should be all of that done. And from here, what I want to do is this trick again, where I do one of those, grab the golden spatula, and we're good to go, which Why did that put me back in that mission? Okay, it doesn't really matter. So we headed back out here. There's another one of these where we have to pay 1,000 shiny objects, and I kind of messed up my cycle right there because I wasn't ready for that. Okay, anyway, it's not the biggest deal. All we have to do is just jump through these things. Even if you do get hit by the spikes, it's not the biggest deal. But then I want to take that checkpoint, come over here, and I want to hit this dude's bubble, get the golden spatula, fall off the edge, and that kills me during that, so I get put right back over to Patrick's rock, which we have his dream. There's just nothing in it, and we get that spatula too. Then from there, we can go back over towards this point, because all that's left is going to be Sandy's dream. And for Sandy's dream, of course, we do get to play as Sandy. Larry's here as well, the boy. But what we're going to want to do is jump, grab this, and of course, do one of these regular tricks. That way we can infinitely fly, and we can come over towards this slide. That way we can get a speed boost all the way over to this nut. So you pretty much skip the entire thing with doing this trick, which is hilarious. And yeah, we can just take this golden spatula. But there is still a couple more collectibles we have to get, like coming down here onto this slide. We can do a jump over towards this right platform, and then we have to do a lasso onto that thing, which I missed the lasso. Okay, I think I can fix this. We just gotta head back over into this direction and then go up this thing. My momentum's a little weird, but if we do one of those, we should be fine. And yeah, I'm just gonna let the lasso go out normally for like the first time ever. I normally like doing the lasso trick where you spam it and jump a little bit, but that time, better safe than sorry. And from here, pretty normal slide ride where, by the way, there's all these cows that are throwing pies or something like that. Like, I don't know why they're here and why they're in Sandy's dream. I guess it's Texas, and maybe that's something that exists in Texas, let me know. But now we can just go grab this sock, get rid of all those robots, and teleport back over to Sandy's dream, because there's one more spatula we have to do, and conveniently there's this box right here. It puts us back on the nut. And this time I want to jump up there, and I messed it up a little bit, but I want to jump up there, and that was also a little bit messed up, but it should work like that, where now we can come on top of this thing, and yeah, we're good to go. A little bit of a weird hover. Sometimes weird things like that happen in this game. It's just a very broken game. But we're gonna head forward, and we're gonna hit this cow. That's gonna send us downwards, which is hilarious. I mean, not really hilarious, I guess is the word I'm looking for, but it's just funny that things work out that way, that you can do this stuff. Like, the speedrun community is so smart for finding out about all this stuff. And the world record speedrun has a lot of tricks that I don't even do, so I definitely recommend checking that out too after this video if you're interested. But we got over here, and I want to make sure that if I do get up into the air, if I get hit by anything, I go back to the ground, because it's very easy to just get launched in the air, and then we would have to repeat this entire thing. So just better to be a little bit slow than rushing things and just die. But that deals with all the people right there, which reveals a golden spatula. Then of course we can grab it, have our little cutscene, and there's one more sock that we have to do in the dream area, which this one is conveniently just behind this building. So we'll grab that, and then it's time to head back to Bikini Bottom. Now with this one, we're going to be heading straight over to Kelp Forest. And with this area right away, we got to do some breaking the level where we're going to jump on top of this. There's a very small amount of collision you can actually get there, which is awesome. And then we can jump on this thing. Kind of missed my jump right there, but we get this camper because, of course, again, Mrs. Puff lost some more people, so we have to find all the people that she lost. That's one of them. And now we're going through the level backwards. So yeah, normally this is like one of the last spots you're supposed to be at, but for us, it's one of the first. And we can jump down here, die. That spawns us right over here where we can grab this spatula. Then we can go into this box because we already got both of them activated. Before we talk to Mermaid Man, he's like, oh, you got to beat my record. And I'm definitely going to do this legitly instead of just switching back to Patrick. Then, of course, we switch back to SpongeBob, talk to Mermaid Man one more time, agree to do his time challenge, and then just completely cheat it by going inside of there. And we can go over to this spot, jump, and that's where the spot is that lets you know that you completed the mission. So we're good, and we can grab this spatula. Now, we will still be doing some of this slide, though, and that's because there are some socks we got to get. So what we're going to do, first of all, is take this left jump, which is a huge jump you can make all the way over there. Then we want to come over here, do this jump, and I accidentally messed that up. My problem was I just didn't do my double jump fast enough, so if we do it a little bit earlier, we're able to make it over here, hit that leaf, then kind of just some normal playing where I am going through, jumping on all these bouncy leaves, which are really bouncy for some reason, And with this one, that'll launch us all the way up to this higher platform. And I think I said some socks when I just meant one sock. There's only one sock we have to get on there. So that's good stuff with that area. Now we can just come outside of this exit. And that puts us at this spot where we can grab this golden spatula. And then by getting that golden spatula, it unlocks the mission for Barnacle Boy. So we can just teleport right over there. We can talk to him. He asks us to collect a bunch of crystals that are around the cave. So that's what we got to do. First of all, what I can do is bash up there to open the secondary box instead of having to go through this place normally. So that's nice. We can open that gate. Then we're going to go in that box. And yeah, we're now at the end, right at the beginning. It's always fun to do that. So from here, we have to use our cruise bubble. I'm just going to aim it so it goes all the way over towards that button. And then we want to switch back to Patrick. Oh, there's also going to be this convenient sock right there. Might as well take that. But with Patrick, there's a couple of things we want to do. First of all, we're coming the same path where we just go through that stuff. And then we're going to be going over towards the right, where over here we can do some pretty wonky platforming just up this place. And that's going to be one of the crystals we have to get for Barnacle Boy. Then after that, I jump through these things. Come up to here, there's going to be one of these campers. I can take this stone tiki with us and we can bring it over to this section, but we're going to leave it there for now because what we want to do first is just get a lot of height. And you can actually get up here, do this platforming by just doing some jumps and attacks with Patrick. There's this one too, which I just missed it. Yeah, like I said, been a while since I've played these levels because I thought I had the run done already, but there we go. We got up there. We could jump onto this guy, throw that tiki, and then throw it one more time. So it's back over at the end of this level. And all we have to do is throw this in that guy's mouth. That gets up this entire vine thing. So we can use Patrick to jump up here. And over by the top, there is going to be another one of these crystals. Now we're heading back down over towards the stuff we did with SpongeBob earlier with opening up that gate. We'll take that crystal. And then with Patrick, we want to grab this tiki, put it in that guy's mouth, and it's going to reveal some more leaves before then switching back to SpongeBob. And with him, we can jump on those things, get all the way up here. There's going to be our 5th crystal. Come down here, hit that button. That reveals another button that we have to hit with our cruise bubbles. So just go over there. And all we have to do is just go slightly inside of this path and do some more platforming. So we jump up to this thing, get stopped by that vine. We don't have to talk about it. I can just go right back. But anyways, we have to make that jump, go up this thing, grab that crystal. That's going to be 6 out of 6. And we can teleport back to Barnacle Boy. He's going to be proud of us. He's going to give us a golden spatula. And now we want to do the trick where I forgot to hit the bubble bowl before I went through the gate. Okay, that's fine. We can just go back. Please get out of my way, tartar sauce guy. All the small mistakes that you make and things like this. But anyways, we're gonna grab that, get the spatula. And now we're heading forward. There's gonna be another spatula right here because remember, we're doing the map basically backwards. We're going from the back to the front instead of the front to the back. So some of these spatulas are just super easy. And we can make a big jump all the way over towards this spot. And there's this guy who's sending out all of these robots. I want to make sure I don't get hit by their explosions. You very much can easily get hit by those and just fall into the ocean. But we can head up here, grab that sock. Then we got some bouncy leaves, which I want to make it over to. Just go on those. And now this is a bit of tricky platforming where I want to find a point of collision on this rock, but it's a really weird rock. Okay, finally I was able to get it. That took like a minute or something. I told you, it's been a while since I've played these later parts of this level. But anyways, after we get that camper, that was only for a single camper too, which is funny. But after we get him, we can go spawn by Mr. Krabs. He tells us to do some missions or something like that. I don't really care about it. We got some other stuff we gotta do, like making our way over here. And there's gonna be a button in that section. And normally for this section, you're also supposed to freeze all the goo. But of course, why would I do that when I could just do other stuff? So we can come over towards this top path. There's going to be this box over here. Teleport back through that. Then we can make a fairly specific jump where we just do a couple of those hits, get our golden spatula. And from there, like usual, we'll just slam into the ocean. Unfortunately, Patrick dies. Then another Patrick thing we want to do, it spawns us right back by Mr. Krabs. So this time we're heading in this direction. And first off, there is going to be this sock right over here I can take. And then we want to take all of these trampoline leaves to go over into this section. And with a couple of those, there's going to be another one of this guy who sends out his dogs and stuff. we'll hit him. It really hurts his foot. Sorry about that, dude. But we deal with that. Go back to Mr. Krabs. Now for the last two spatulas, we do want to be SpongeBob, so we'll switch back and head over into this direction. There's the leaves and stuff, of course, but I go through there and just head through the loading zone, which there's going to be another convenient spatula for us. Gotta love it. Then we can head just around this corner until there's this Duplicatron. We can jump off of that to get up here, go on that leaf, which gives us a super jump, before heading back over here because there are some more bouncy leaves we want to go on. Then start going forward. There is going to be that Patrick spot where it wants us to throw a watermelon. We don't need to though. We just come straight over here, get that camper, and also drop down and get a sock so we die. Then we spawn back at the checkpoint. You can see the Patrick thing, and we're going in this opposite direction. Eventually we'll make it to this spot where I want to do a fairly long jump, kind of precise, all the way to that camper. That's going to be 6 out of 6, and I can go bowl all of those tikis, which spawns us to sock. Then from there, there's going to be some more weird collision on these branches, but we make it up there. There's going to be a sock, and finally we can talk to Mrs. Puff, and she's going to give us the last spatula of this area. So there's only one more main area we have to do, but first we're going back to Bikini Bottom. This puts us right by the Krusty Krab, and in the back of the Krusty Krab, there's going to be this trash can where we can grab a sock. But now it's time for Dutchman's Graveyard. This is a nice fun area where we get the flying Dutchman, and yeah, it finally introduces that enemy that we've already seen in the dream and stuff, but it thinks you'll come to this place first, which is kind of funny. And what we want to do here is, instead of doing all these puzzles, all I have to do is a bash into a slam and deal with it that way. Then we can come up here. We're going to go ahead, take that checkpoint, because we have a specific jump we have to do here. So first of all, I want to get onto that collision, get all the way up here, and then I want to aim myself by jumping, going forward with there, doing a spin, jump, spin, making it all the way to this sock and dying from there. That trick is very easy to mess up, so I'm glad I did it that time. But now we can head over into this section where, of course, there's going to be this clam over here, and we can open that up, which opens that button, but oh, yeah, I realized I forgot to do something. Gotta love small little speedrunning mistakes, but what we're supposed to do before we go over there is close off this guy, which basically lowers the water level so you can actually go to different places. And one of those places is going to be over here. There's this huge ship, and all we have to do is grab this spatula before just going and teleporting back. Then we can actually go the place I tried to before. You can see now, since the water level is lower, we can actually go there. We'll hit that button. At least that's already open. And we're going to be using the sponge ball to make our way over here. Now there's a bunch of rocks and stuff that can get in your way, so I just try to make sure that I'm keeping pretty good control over SpongeBob when we're in this form. We want to jump over there. I got a very pathetic jump right there, so we don't have to talk about that, but we can just jump over normally. We don't need the sponge ball anymore, and grab that spatula. Then we'll spawn back to the third spatula one more time, where this time we want to head over to the left, do a fairly specific jump onto this thing, and make our way over here. There's a bunch of people trying to murder us, just like normal. I guess that's not new at all. But I will kind of want to wait out that guy's oil first. Then I can hit him with a couple of these guys, just because he can sometimes get in your way, so it's just better to deal with him, in my opinion. And we can grab that, get some super fast speed, and grab that spatula. Oh, by the way, why I was snowboarding on nothing is you can spawn a platform there by doing a puzzle. But the thing is, it actually only spawns the visual for the platform. The platform is always there, regardless of if you do the puzzle first or not. It's just you can't see it at first. So it's kind of funny. You can just use it when it's kind of not there. Anyways, what I'm doing now is just some more platforming, making my way over towards the sock, which is nice. We can get back onto the main area, and I want to do a bash into a couple of wall jumps, which we can just barely be able to make it up there before the wall closes in on us. And there's just a lot of these wall jumps in this area. We just kind of go through. And from there, after a couple of wall jumps, we'll make our way to this clam. We will have to pay it, of course. Slam down there, grab that spatula, and spawn back to the spatula point we just got. Now from here, as soon as we spawn in, we want to move forward, make this cycle, because if you wait a little bit too long, you're not going to make it, and it makes you wait longer. But from there, I don't want to do the normal platforming you would have to do. So instead, I just come up here, and we can actually somehow stand on these really tiny nails, which is hilarious, and grab that spatula up there. Now we can go over to the ship loading zone, where we have two gigantic pirate ships, and we got to do some stuff for them. So first we talk to Mr. Krabs. He says something, but I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about is these pirate ships, and we have to prepare all their cannons. So first of all, I'll get that guy. I can jump up here, hit that button, and then we want to aim one of our bubble balls, and we want to charge it a lot. That way we get enough height to make it up here. Then I want to aim this very specifically, where we're not going to charge this bubble ball at all, and then we're going to jump right away, jump off the ball, and be able to get enough height to get this spatula. That bubble bowl can be very annoying, so I'm happy I got it second try. Then we can just head down here, get this last cannon, which is going to give us a free spatula, before switching over to Sandy, because even though we prepared our cannons, we have to destroy the other ship's defenses. So that's as easy as just taking Sandy, and they have these electricity things, which we have to destroy their power source and just go through. There's only 5 of them, so I just go at all the different places on the ship. This is going to be the last one. I can then jump up here because there is going to be one more sock, so we can grab that too before heading back to our ship. There's going to be this guy in the way who can sometimes kind of be annoying. Get out of my way, dude. And then we get hit by that guy as well. We don't have to talk about it because I'm just going to go through, hopefully not get hit by anything else. Also, those platforms are trying to collapse on me. Everything's trying to murder me at this point. But we thankfully make it over, where now we got to switch back to SpongeBob. And it's kind of funny because the boss fight for this level has you playing as Sandy, but you have to be SpongeBob to activate it. What we're doing now is the Flying Dutchman fight. And this one is pretty simple. So Flying Dutchman is just going to spam this single move. And then after he uses it a couple of times, he goes into his ghost form, he moves around, and he spams that move again because he just thinks it's really impressive. I mean, it is really impressive to be fair, but after using it a couple of times, we have to lasso his tail and just keep doing this over and over again. By the way, while we're doing this, if you want some more SpongeBob content, I recommend the world record holder of the 100% speedrun, Kaons. Really good SpongeBob content, and I'll also leave their 100% speedrun in the description. And if you want the original game, of course, you go to Shift. Shift has like all the world records on the original game and constantly pushes the game, so definitely recommend checking that out too. And finally, after lassoing this dude a couple of times, we can get our spatula. That's going to be 82. So that's everything for the main levels, but we still got a couple more things to do, like heading over to Patrick. Now with Patrick, all we have to do is just talk to him a couple of times. For some reason that didn't work for a second. Sometimes I guess his text bubble doesn't want to show up, but yeah, we're just going to him over and over again. And after getting all of his spatulas, we can collect them all at one time, which speeds that up. And then we want to head over to Mr. Krabs. If you'll remember, we cleared out the entire Krusty Krab earlier, so we get a spatula for that, and also a bunch of spatulas from buying them. And the reason we wanted to wait to get the Krusty Krab spatula is so we can have them all in this one sector, get them all at the same time, have them all be the same animation. So that was a lot of money we had to spend on Mr. Krabs, but you know what? He needs it. What we're doing from here, we're jumping up to this spot, completely missing our jump embarrassingly, and then jumping up there and doing a bash up. But now it is time for the final boss fight, which is going to be Robo SpongeBob. And this is a fun boss fight because right away we're going to go collapse ourselves over towards the ground and hit one of the green parts of Robo SpongeBob. We have to hit all of them to deal with him, so that's the most important part. But there's also going to be Robo Plankton. Now normally if you're in the upper path, then SpongeBob is going to try to hit you with karate moves. But if you're down here, Roboplankton tries to hit you with his projectiles. But because we're behind this trampoline, he's just not able to hit us at all. So I just have free reign to completely destroy this robot. Until finally, that's going to be the first part of the fight. We get our 99th spatula. And then we're now inside of Robo SpongeBob, and we have to destroy all the things that are powering him. So this is a pretty cool route where first of all, I'm going to do a fairly long jump all the way to this spot, break that, do a spin onto this trampoline so we don't actually jump on it, then do a long jump all the way over towards this spot. And from here, we can go do some spins, hit that guy, get onto that trampoline, and we're good. And yeah, this is what normally would have happened if on that first trampoline, we didn't spin onto it instead of jumping onto it. But Roboplankton is going to show up. We do want to deal with him by hitting him with a cruise bubble. And then we go inside of Robo SpongeBob's inner machinery so we can destroy that light, get onto this next one, another trampoline. Of course, Roboplankton will be used again, and we can head back here. Pretty much same thing. And now for this next time, I'm going to try something. I've never actually hit this one before, but if you slam into this and then press the cruise bubble and hold it, you can actually do this in the air. Now, I've never done this one, so I'm not exactly sure the correct timing you're supposed to do it, because it also has to be fast enough so you don't get hit by Roboplankton. I definitely messed that up, but we're just going to do it normally now. Not the biggest deal in the world. We'll hit that guy too. And then we can head over here, just do a huge jump. And by the way, yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to get the sub 2. I mean, technically it is a sub 2 because the speedrunners usually take out their loading times. So even though my regular time with loading times is not sub 2, we still probably got one. And okay, that was kind of embarrassing. Unfortunately, my run with the worst bit rate was a bit better, but still not that much better, only like a minute better. So I still will take this, and we can end off time as soon as we hit that guy, which is going to give us the time of 2 hours and 50 seconds, which is going to be 6th place on the leaderboards, and I'll take it. All right, subscribe if you enjoyed. Bye.